Hi, Kathy Ray. How are you tonight, ma'am? Welcome to the room. Welcome in. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. We've got a juicy tonight. Indeed. Hi, Sheila Carswell. Welcome in. Hi, Junior. Happy Thursday. Hi, Espa. Welcome. How are you, sir? Megan, welcome in. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. I'm glad you're here, Shonda. I can always depend on you. I can. My voice is a little bit better than it was on Monday. So let me know if you can hear me. If I need to speak a bit louder, I shall. How are you, Sheila? I hope you guys are feeling better. I heard about the bug going through your house. So I hope you all feel better. My goodness. Where does the time go? That's my thing. Where does the time go? What do you mean, what do I have for you, Yusfa? What do you mean? Thank you, Shonda. What do I supposed to have for you, sir? Did I make a promise that I didn't keep? Because I don't usually do that. Hi, Shatavia. I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome in. You're the best, Junior. Yeah. I'm glad you're doing a little bit better, Sheila. I'm praying that you can be back up to par sooner than later. It's no fun being sick. No fun. Whoo, gosh. It's just trying to keep it at bay. I'm communicating with our guest, so she should be on momentarily. I'm sending a quick note. It's very interesting. We're in Australia tonight, so they're quite a bit of time ahead of us. They're already into tomorrow. Nuts. You should have seen us trying to figure out the best time and how I could get her in here. Wow. However, it was well worth it. I can say that. My goodness. So have you guys have a good day? How was your Wednesday? Mine was a blur. It was a blur. Although great. It was a great day. I cannot complain about it at all. I can't. I won't anyway. It doesn't matter much. And I'm trying to multitask. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Sheila. Pop in whenever you feel like it. We're going to be on for at least the next hour. But more importantly, get some rest. You can always catch the replay. So definitely come on in, all Sparrows. I appreciate you very much. It's going to be a great evening. And I say smooches to each and every one of you for always being so consistent and coming in. I do appreciate seeing you every single week because I never know what to expect. I don't. However, here lately, things have been going great. And picking up with additional shows and people coming from different locations in the world, and it's exhausting, but like I said, it's well worth it. You had a great day today, James? But every day is a good day. Yes, it is. It's all about what you make it. It doesn't matter what we have going on. It's about what we do with it. Tell you something good? Well, you're alive, Yaspa. You're alive. Today is Wednesday. Always find the best in every moment. How about that? For good. And I want you to start saying some good, positive things over yourself. some positive affirmations every day is the way to go. Whenever you're a bit doubtful, things aren't going the way you want it, okay? Think of it that way. Welcome to the room, Veronica Morris. Good to see you on. I'm going to go ahead and send this invitation out to Angelina and see if we can get her on. Okay. One day we're going to laugh about all of these shows and how things began. One day we're going to laugh all about this. I promise you. Oh gosh. Yes. Hello, my darling baby sissy. Good to see you on. I know you. If I can depend on anybody to be in the room, it will be you. And of course, Junior. Shonda drops in. So I have my faithfuls here. So if it's your first time in, say hashtag newbie. If you are a regular, say hashtag veteran. And that means you're here every week. You know, if you're just swinging by, if you're a guest, then say hashtag guest. All of that. Okay? So she should be on momentarily. She's on my page, and I'm just waiting for her to filter through the thread. And once I see her on the thread, then I can invite her on. Indeed. Hello, Sil. Welcome to the room. Happy Wisdom Wednesday to you. I miss you a lot, dear friend. I do miss you. We've got to talk sooner than later, just to play catch up. Just to play catch up. Oh my gosh. She says she's on, but I'm not seeing her pop up in the thread just yet. Hey, girl. I see you out there. I see what you're doing, Sil. We're dealing with other countries. We're dealing with other countries. So she's in Australia. Her internet is slower. We have to keep all of those types of things in mind because being here in the U.S., we are privileged in so many ways. Quite privileged. And sometimes we have to take it aback just a little bit and say, hey, you know what? Just breathe. Take a moment. Breathe in. Hold it. Then breathe out. That type of a thing. And I mean throughout the day, you have to do these type of self-care ventures. I'm just telling her we're waiting on her. No worries. I love this man. I just look forward to the day when we laugh about it all. But in the meantime, I see, okay, she says she's here. Maybe I can send her the request now. We'll give it just a minute. I'm going to add her in. Okay, Angela, and while you are doing that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. For those of you who don't know who I am, and there she is.
Hi.
Hey, lady. Hi.
How you doing?
I am fab. I am fabulous. Grateful that you're here.
Me too.
Indeed. I was just about to introduce myself for those who are in the room who might not know who I am, and then I can introduce you, and then we can go ahead and get started. How about that? I know you have some things to do, so take a breather for just a minute.
Me?
Yes, you. Take a breather, because you're already into tomorrow. That's what I was saying to the Sparrows. I'm like, well, it's already tomorrow. It's Thursday. Where
Yes.
Angelina is coming from. So, you know, time zones are miraculous. We'll never figure them out. However, they're to have, and it's perfect for every single thing, even though we may not understand what they're for. I say everybody be on the same time and call it a day. However, like I was saying, for those of you who don't know who I am Valerie Miller of TVM, the Valerie Miller Dog Fold. This very minute and moment, you have opportunity to change. And if you've noticed, that is what the topic is on tonight. Consciousness and choosing change. And we're saying choosing change because things happen in our lives that tend to be out of our control momentarily, and then you wake up and then something happens inside and you say, you know what? It's time to change the dynamic of this. And that's why we have the one and the only Angelina Terrific in the house, in the room from Australia.
Hey.
Yes, yes. Angelina, I haven't had a chance to really smooze you, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that. Introduce yourself and just give us a snapshot of how you got to where you are in order to do what you're doing when we're talking about domestic abuse and then taking your life back. So you have a nonprofit organization and, you know, the outpost. And how did that come to be? So just give us a snapshot of that before we start engaging into conversation.
Sure. I am going to, I've just had a ping on my phone saying, no battery. So I'm just going to connect you. So
Please do.
It'll take me 3 seconds.
Please do that. We need you to stay connected. That we most definitely do. Welcome to the room, Allison. I appreciate you dropping in. Melissa Caldwell McCaskill. Smooches to you, my dear. And thank you for dropping in as well. I thank each of you for coming in. Angelina will be with us shortly as she is plugging up her phone. It's nothing worse than to get on a live and forget that your phone might need a bit of a charge and you're in the midst of having a conversation and your phone dies. What is that? It happens to all of us.
But I'm still here.
And she's stirring around.
There we are.
Yeah. And there she is. You can expect the unexpected.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In the room. That's how it goes down here. It's not right unless something unexpected happens.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Please share your story with the Sparrows.
Okay. I came from a intergenerational domestic violence situation. I grew up with a lot of domestic violence. I also was born into a family where one child out of each family unit was groomed for a pedophile ring within the family. I then grew like I then realized, well, no, you don't really realize. You're just born into a family that's like that, and there's a lot of alcohol abuse, and there was a lot of there was just a lot of physical abuse, emotional abuse, and yeah. So growing up, that was my world, that was my universe. I didn't think that there was anything wrong with that because that was what I was born into. I grew up. I'll make it really short for you. I grew once I stood up to my mum and my dad and said no to the abuse. I was 6 months later. I was on the street. So I was on the street for about 6 months. I was picked up by a local refuge. A few months later, I was picked up by a local refuge. I got back into school, I met my first husband. I fell pregnant very young. I had 3 children. I was with him for a short amount of time. I wasn't capable and I wasn't emotionally built for relationships. I didn't know how to, at that stage, I didn't know how to cultivate, maintain, and move forward with relationships. So anyhow, that ended, and a few years later, I've done some first self-development, met my second husband. Really bad year in 1999, a huge year. I lost so many people that year. There was 2 people within 10 days of each other, both committing suicide. That was my sister and my husband. That year rolled on. It was amazing. Anyhow, a few years later. Just giving you a good background on a few years later, I moved back down to Hunter Valley, gorgeous, gorgeous place. I met a fellow who I was with for about 7 years, highly violent, highly volatile. Um, he was a sociopath, narcissistic sociopath. It was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. I finally got out of that relationship in 2009. He stalked me for 2 years. And then eventually, when he worked out that I was going to Argentina, going over to dance and everything else, he didn't like that idea. So he kidnapped me, tortured me, and tried to murder me in his backyard. That was in 2011. That was on Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is why this is why I'm arranging to have a gala night every Valentine's Day, because I
Yes.
realised there were so many women out there that were still trapped or had been trapped in these crazy relationships and in these
Yeah.
uncontrollable, they felt uncontrollable situations, and the romance was just gone for them. But don't get me wrong, the charity isn't all about reclaiming the romance.
Right. Right.
That's just one
Yeah.
of the aspects. Between 2011 and even to now, even today, I've been studying. I've been doing so much self work, self empowering work, self exploration. I woke up one morning, maybe 2 years ago, about 2 years ago. It was a really, really cold morning, and my children are grown now. I have 3 children. I have three children, 4 grandchildren.
Great.
And I woke up a couple of years ago, and it was that cold. Before I'd even opened my eyes, my mind went to, oh my gosh, my kids must be so cold. I have to get up and make sure that they've got covers on them. Well, the moment they hit the floor, there was that realization that, oh my gosh, my kids are older now. I'm not in that situation anymore. And my mind was still programmed
Exactly.
in that, in that
Yes.
sense that I
Yes.
have to do something for my children. Anyhow, this was, oh my gosh, so early in the morning. And my fiance came out the next morning, stumbling around, rubbing his eyes. And here I am on the computer, putting a call out to all of these women on the Central Coast. Look, hi, this is my story. This is a part of my story. I've just woken up this morning. I bet everybody was cold. My first thought was, where are my children? Are my children warm? Let's go. I'm going to fix them up.
Yeah.
Upon realizing that I'm safe, that I'm in an amazing relationship, the man that I'm with is just absolutely gorgeous. I realized that I'm in such a beautiful, safe place, and I broke down. I realized that just because I'm out of this situation doesn't mean that the pain and the domestic violence.
You don't forget it. You do not forget that.
No.
Mm-mm.
It becomes part of your blueprint, and
Yeah.
that in itself, that part of your blueprint,
Yeah.
for me, it was intergenerational. It was from the day that I was born, it was in my blueprint. There are women who come into relationships from really, really good, really, really healthy, wholesome backgrounds, and they just happen to meet a guy that comes from an intergenerational violent background, and then she's swept into it.
Yes.
And
Unfortunately.
that's what we're working on, where this is what the Outpost is about. This is what the Fearless Warrior Project is about. It's about breaking that cycle, not the cycle where they live every day, day in, day out, inside that house, but the cycle that they carry within them, outside of the relationship. So that's what we're all about. It's about doing it on every possible level. There you go.
And now we can swallow all of that. Try to make some type of a connection to even relate to it as you drink your cup with the mustache. It just breaks the ice. Yeah. So because the first time I heard your story, of course, it brought me to tears. And I told you that. It did.
Yeah.
I had to read it. And it was almost to the point to where I'm like, oh my gosh, how can one person endure so much? And then you go into gratitude because you're one who had to do that. And then to look at you, in the disclaimer, how you added into the email, you said you put an asterisk in a disclaimer. You said, please do not reply to me with I'm sorry. none of that, because I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm in a different place. And then it took me aback when I said, oh my gosh, this lady is the strongest person I know to go through those types of situations, and here to tell the story, gotta bring her on Wisdom Wednesday. That's what I said, because I wanted to be able to talk to you for myself. And then that initial call between us, we talked for 2.5 hours. It was supposed to
We
be
did.
15 to 20 minutes. It was too juicy. 2.5 hours we talked and unlayered so many things. And I have to say, I'm grateful for you and for what you're doing and the work to have the understanding and know, okay, I've gone through all of this, I've endured all of this. Now I've got to do something about it.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
see?
And the and how can I put this? You can probably hear baby in the background. She's down for a nap, so if you hear a baby in the background, she's supposed to be sleeping.
It's a
um, how can I put this? I for I'm not defined by what happened. I'm not defined by. I made a choice that I would not be defined by what other people do and what they've done and how they act and what they say. And
yes.
and that morning, that cold morning, it was, oh my gosh, I was able to put all of that together and bring myself to this point right here, right now, today, to be able to sit here and be
Yes.
talking on this thing. There's got to be a way. I have to try and help. Like there has to be some way to help, because the system in Australia is not working. It just does not work. It's a band-aid situation. It's a band-aid
Yeah.
system, and it does not address what really needs to be addressing.
And
Our,
I think that's worldwide actually, because it's so many women, they feel stuck in the
yeah,
positions where they are because they have nowhere to go,
yeah,
nobody to help them really. So what am I supposed to do?
mm, yeah, yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
and I'm so grateful to be able to bring this to to the women who need the help, this
Yeah.
help. Just and being able to see that, be able to, like, from one morning, like, because we've now stretched out the like the first module to over 3 days, and
Yeah.
to watch these. Hold on a second. I'm just going to see if these things turned on. Oh, hang on. I need to turn it on.
Okay.
Hey, there we go. Ding ding. Now we won't turn on. Okay.
Okay.
I forgot to turn the switch on. So it is. It's such. I got to a point where, like, with the 3 day, we had to, yeah. So we had to stretch out the modules over 3 days, because they're so intense. They are so intense, and the changes that I'm able to witness, and the ability to be able to hold that space while these women grow, while these women realize, while these women become empowered. It's a, it's it's nothing that I've ever been able to witness before, or ever been able to look at before, and to do it face to face and see these women come in on the first day absolutely inside their shell and so introverted, and it
Mm-hmm.
just, it oozes out of them. And at the and then by the middle of the second day, they're starting to sit up straighter. And one of the girls even wore lipstick in the next day.
Oh, confidence.
And
Yes.
that was
Confidence.
incredible. Nothing to talk about, you know? She's like, oh no, it's just the lipstick. It's like, yeah, no, sweetheart, it's not. It's the whole thing. By the end
It
of the
speaks
day,
volumes.
these women are just, oh my gosh, where was this 15 years ago? And the
Yes.
struggles that they go through, it's like, oh, this is the answer. And just like the shadow minister was waving it in front of me. This is the answer. This is the answer to the crisis. This is going to not only not only not only make the change that needs to happen in Australia. This is like Australia's answer to the domestic violence crisis.
Mm-hmm.
She this is also going to severely impact the homeless, the homelessness crisis that we've got here, because it's
Thank
about
God.
90% of the homeless people in Australia, it's
Yes.
a result of domestic violence. So
Wow.
this, yeah, and I didn't realise it. I didn't until she's
I didn't either.
gone. This is also going to help in the homeless sector as well. And it's just like,
What an
wow.
impact.
Yeah, and that first morning when I was at that computer desk, just typing away, going, oh my gosh, there's got to be something I can do. Um, I came to the conclusion I needed to start with a soup kitchen. Soup kitchen. Um, Almost every day,
They're needed.
I look behind me.
Yes.
Where's that soup kitchen? Where did that go?
That's that's your schedule?
Well, that was it. Like that was it way back then, 2 years ago, and then it
Yeah.
developed into this 12 module plus program for these women because the girls don't need more soup kitchens. They don't need more soup kitchens. They don't
No.
need food
They need genuine help
from
of
me.
transition.
They have the free food from other services that, and I don't need to try to reinvent that wheel. What I needed to do, and I'm doing today, very proud of it, that I'm allowing these guys to do what they do best, and I've been able to step back and be able to do what I do best. So I've facilitated
Right.
and I've been the architect of this amazing program, this
Love it.
project.
Yes.
Yeah,
I get excited because, there are so many other programs, like you said, it's tons of programs. There are soup kitchens, there are places where they can go get food temporarily, but it's
yeah,
not enough programs where it actually builds the confidence, restore who they were, and then empower them to be greater than they were before and understand the signs
yeah.
to prevent getting into that type of relationship again. That's what's most important and what I love about what you're doing. You literally get in the head and you break every piece down. And that's
Yes.
only because you've lived through it already. You know what it looks like.
And the day that it was developed, I might have said to you, I'm pretty sure that I said to you on the when we spoke, like
Yeah.
as we these girls, I think it was 9 girls of us sat around a table. It's like they're like, we've got this, we've got food, we've got this, we've got that. We're getting free blankets, we're getting subsidised housing, we're getting subsidised like electricity. Sometimes electricity bills paid for us. And it was like, okay, well, what do we need? It's like, well, one girl struggled with this, one girl struggled with this, one girl struggled with this, one girl struggled with this. And each one of the girls that stuck their hands up, and said something, two or three, and myself stuck my hand up and went, yeah, me too. I did that to get to here, and I did that to get to here. And
Yes.
I that I was 4 or 5 steps beyond where they were because they were still
Right.
struggling. They were still in their cycle, and it's like, oh my gosh! And I drew it on. I wish I would have found it for this because I could have held it up and gone, this is it. The piece of paper. I still have it on my wall. Where it's got
The circles.
it didn't start as a Fearless Warrior project. It started off as something else, but there was a circle, then there was a mind map with like 8 or 9 different sections of what
Yeah.
we need to be able to get through and get beyond and get past the trauma of domestic violence. And that was where it was born. And I was like, well, this is what we need. And they've just gone, yeah, this is what we need. This is exactly what we need. Where was this 10 years ago? And I hear that so often. Where was this 10 years ago? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, mm, so sorry.
Glad you did. Yes, I know. That is so major. And then to see, where you are today and how everything has basically snowballed to where you are. And it's still
Yes.
changes that are being made. It's still newness, different things that you tweak along the way. It just depends on what the needs are for the ladies. And I know you work hand in hand. I mean, literally hand in hand with them throughout the course of the 12 months.
Yes.
And you're doing face to face. It's a bit different than usually what I do. I can do face to face or 90% is online. Whereas
Yes.
you feel it's more imperative to see them face to face. And I get that also because it is more powerful. You get more of an impact when you're
Yeah, you do.
physically there.
physiology comes into it. Your physiology comes into it. Being able to read
Yeah.
their whole physiology online. There's about this much that we see of each other, this much. So I'm not able to see what else you're doing there. Being able to be in the same room after doing the behavioural, after studying behavioural patterns, like language, not so much Spanish, but how we use our language, the type of words we use, that's imperative. That, like, to be able to be there and to be able to interact on that, because I've developed tools for my assistants to be able to spot someone going into what we call a negative loop or a negative cognitive loop within themselves.
Yes.
We pull them aside and say, hey, let's go for a walk. Looks like you're struggling. Hey, and my girls process that girl, so she's not carrying it through the rest of the day. And then she comes the girl back into the group and is able to openly start interacting again. That's the key point of being able to help these girls become empowered, because there are blocks, there is so much resistance, and there's so much attachment to negative statements that when they're not realizing that it's their negative attachment to a certain statement, not the statement itself. And it's to be able to interact with that. It's so very important to be one-on-one, to be across a table or to be across a room, and be able to being able to give a really solid eye contact with someone that's sitting in the same room as you, because it's very hard to do that, because I'm looking at you, but it looks like I'm looking up and over.
We're
I'm
side by
look
side.
right into the camera.
You're right. We can't. I mean, we
So
can in lieu of, but no, we can't. And I get that, especially for this type of environment, for the type of situations that you're working with. However, it's so many people, and it's about attraction and connecting with the right people also. So, the women that are being abused, they can feel comfortable and trust you. That's going to be imperative, to know that they can trust you and do what needs to be done to get valid help.
It's also as well one of the biggest things that help us to be able to hold the space and help the girls go through what they're about to go through, what they're going through within the lecture room. We agree every day before we start every day, that we do not go into story. We don't retell our story. I'm very much in the mind of a psychologist who has studied trauma and trauma on the brain. He's got, I think it's the Centre for Trauma, Dr. Besser, I think his name is, Besser Vanderkolk. He wrote the book, and I love the book, The Body Remembers. The more we tell, no matter how much we think we're numb to it, the more we tell our story, a really traumatic story, there is a part of our brain that is still being traumatized by it. And also, there's also the other part of it is traumatizing other women or re-traumatizing other women who have gone through the same situation. It's not conducive to good learning, to good empowerment, dwelling on that sort of stuff. We are working on another program, the Warrior Expressed, where the girls do have that opportunity to tell their story. But it's based on one of the studies from the California Trauma Center, where they write it, read it, then they write it again and read it, and then they tell it, and they write it a final time. And by that time, the brain isn't reacting or responding to what the story is. There's a link there to your subconscious brain, to your conscious brain, to your body. Writing, telling. And I think there's like a 15-year study of actually doing that, of working out how they can stop the story that is being told, traumatizing the brain and traumatizing, well, everybody else in the room.
Yeah, because
So yeah,
unfortunately, you have to relive that every single time. If you're continuously saying it over and over and over, you relive that. So when you relive it, how can you possibly learn to get through it if you're constantly in the middle of it?
yes, because it is one thing we want to get, and I say to every single one of the girls after we go through the group agreement, I want to be able to get all of you girls to the point where you can stand up in front of a group if you choose to, if you feel you need that you need that some story. Your story becomes a tool, not further trauma. And this is where we want to get every single one of our girls, whether or not they're going to write a book about their trauma or they're going to stand up in front of 5,000 people and tell their story. That doesn't matter. We want to get them to the point where they're able to. Because once they're able to and they're separate from it and they're healed from it, it's just a moment in time. It's something that happened, not something that they're a victim to or they define.
It's behind them. You know, you've gotten away from that. You've done extremely hard work to get yourself to the place where you are at the present, you know, so you don't have to do the whole yo-yo to be back and forth with that. It's vital. It really is. Like I said, I applaud it to have the hand holding and go through it piece by piece with them, because there is a bandage in other places. They just want to give you something, move you temporarily. You know, it's not just you have to think about. There are children that you take into consideration, and you're moving them from an environment, and then you have mental situations, not just for you, but for them too. You know, so it's a number of things that take place when you're evolving and moving away from that. And it's very traumatic. So paying a utility bill or giving some food is just not going to cut it for when you have a mental situation.
Yeah, that's right. It does a job, it band-aids, but it doesn't mind the underlying issue at all. And what I was at an awards ceremony because I hate to toot my own horn, I really do, but I'm going to. Recently, Day Person of the Year award, and I sat in the lecture hall. I had to leave early. And the person who was the ambassador for the day was the very person that I approached when I first had this idea. And he ran a really big homeless shelter. And I presented this to him, and he'd been in the industry for 30 years. And so he would know the statistics about the domestic violence and the effect that domestic violence would have on homelessness. And I gave him a short synopsis of what my vision was, and he sat back and said that no, there is no gap. There is no gap. You've just made this up. And it's like, actually, well, I really don't think so. This is a huge gap. This is going to help if we can get this launched. I was very much using the royal we there. If we can get this launched together and work together, can you imagine the changes that we can make? And he just sat back, arms crossed. No, there is no gap. There is no cycle. There is no. And it's like, oh. Okay,
oh my goodness.
I'm on and keep working on my program. But he was up there the other night, and he was, and a part of his speech was, although I'm retiring, because he'd retired from his position by now, like by then when he was up on stage, he said, "Oh, there's this much homelessness in Australia, and I'm going to keep advocating, and I'm going to keep da 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 da." And I kind of looked at him and I thought, you know what the statistics are. You know where we're going with this project. Whether I front the project or not, it's not that's not the point. The point was that he knows what the statistics are. I handed him what the shadow minister was waving around her head and waving at other ministers. This is the answer. And I'd given that to him first, and he was up proclaiming that he will fight to end the domestic violence. I'm just going, oh, sorry, the homelessness. And I can't sit here and listen to this. I just can't. Up I got and out I went. I didn't go back. I just couldn't do
Yeah.
it. It was just,
Considering your personality too, I can just about imagine you trying to sit still and hearing all of what was
yeah,
taking place is difficult. You can't stay there because in
no,
reality, he had no intention of trying to help, but it
yeah.
would make better sense to connect the dots. So let's join forces and we
Oh,
can
yeah.
kill two birds with one stone. Two with
What was
one.
it?
I said you could have killed two birds with one stone. All you had to do was combine.
I heard you. So you're going to kill two birds. Kill them. Why
Yeah.
would you want to kill them? You don't
Well,
want to kill
not
them.
kill them, literally kill them, but fix two problems at the same time. God forbid if we kill the sparrows. I don't want that. No birds
Oh,
down.
all of my friends, all of my family know that I will, that when they say kill two birds, no, you don't want to kill two birds. You don't, you just don't.
We don't want to kill anybody. We just want the problem fixed, however it needs to be fixed. And anytime you can partner with somebody who has already one piece of the puzzle in place, it's easier.
Yes, yeah, because I wasn't trying to reinvent his wheel. I was trying to support him to do what he was doing and to help him fight, in the fight that he's been advocating for. So and he was there, he stood. But anyhow, so this, off this guy.
Well, he didn't want you to take away his shine either. It was something he had not thought about, and then you have a full-on plan that's all ready to roll out that could be, implemented with what he already had in place also. And sometimes it takes that. It's not about one person being the solution to everything that's going on within your city, within your country. It takes different pieces to link the chain to resolve the issues.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
welcome the opportunity. Yes, to work together.
I am 100%. I am 100% for pulling those that are working with me forward and being launched by them. So it's a repeated an elastic band.
Yes.
We really do. Working together is such an important thing, especially in this sector, because we're losing so many lives. We hear about a week over in Australia. I'm not sure what your statistics are in America, in the US. They put out that it's one woman a week. The true statistics is 1.6 women a week that died as a direct result. What's not publicised is in the 2017 federal coroner's report is that 6 women commit suicide a week as a direct result of domestic violence. So we're losing over 7 women a week to domestic violence.
Because they feel they don't have any way out.
That's right.
They feel trapped.
That's right. And the amount of times that they go in and they keep going back continuously is because the services just aren't enough. Just don't give the right answer. We do. Well, I feel we do. The Shadow Minister feels we do. Liesl Tetch supports us. The local MP. Oh my gosh, it is such a big movement. And to be honest with you, I'm just thinking about this fellow. I'm not here. I don't want to. If you could ask any of my friends, any of my family, they would say, look, no, like, she doesn't want to be on the front. She doesn't want to be the front cover of this. She doesn't want to be the face of this. She wants to go and keep doing her work. She wants to keep doing things, which is so true. And it was just over a year ago. Just over a year ago that a friend of mine who's like a coach, like a professional, like a coach that coaches like authors and speakers and stuff like that. She said to me, you need to get that story out. Your story has to get out. This is the blueprint. This is the launching pad of
Yes.
the program. This is it,
Yes.
and you're going to have to be the face of this thing. You are, and one a really close friend
No
of
way
mine.
around it.
You are the outpost. You
Yeah.
are the Fearless Warrior Project.
Exactly.
So this whole thing's reluctant. I'm very reluctant. I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm so grateful to be able to be on your show and to be able to reach this many people and so many people and be able to do the work that I can.
Yes.
But I have that reluctance. Like, can't I just put someone else's
No, you can't.
profile up there?
No,
Does it
you
have
can't.
to,
No.
you know?
Because nobody can tell your story the way you can tell your story. Your story is the foundation. That is the blueprint. And that's how
Yeah.
every piece of your puzzle is being put together because of your experiences and needing and knowing what has to be done. So
Yeah.
I understand the whole heart. I mean, I don't want to be in this chair either, but I'm here every week.
Yeah, that's
every week.
It is. It's who else is going to tell it? Like, who else is going to tell this story? Like, seriously, who else is going to tell this story? And it's really scary because I'm not one for the spotlight. I'm not comfortable in the spotlight. I'll hide at the back of walls, or I'll stick to myself, or I won't go out of my way to seek attention.
Yeah.
But and my fiance has said, this is what needs to if this is what needs to happen for you to save, if you know that if for you to bear your 100%, if you knew that was going to save one family unit, what would you do? And it's like, no question, let's get it out there. I'm going to write that book.
Yeah.
No?
Yes.
So that's the driving force behind it. Otherwise, I would never have put pen to paper. I would never have ever put my fingertips on this keyboard and started writing this book. So it's
so
really,
it took the book, when you wrote the book. So all of this information, you started the soup kitchen, you've launched the programs with the ladies. You attempt for a partnership, and then you got the resistance with that. So now you had to launch for the nonprofit on your own. You can do it on your own. There's no other way for that to happen.
100%. It's if but the money that I used, rather than taking it to a mechanic to get it, I pumped the money into this not for profit because I just had to. I had to. I gave up. I gave up my career as a chef. I just left it. I just went, no, this is because chefing is anywhere between a 45-hour and a 65-hour week.
Yes.
Doing that, there's no way that I could possibly even think of writing a book, starting a program, starting off with profit. And it's so like even today I'm learning so much about running a not-for-profit. And also because the program is it's 2 and 3 steps into the future of what the ministers were thinking. It's come way before its time. There's no government grants. There's no federal grants, and there's no local grants that cover what we do. Nothing. So everything's so hence why we have the Garland.
That's perfect for you. Right. It's perfect for you because it wasn't anything there. You can launch it, in which you did. Yes. So it's nothing wrong with being the first. Just think about it. You went through all of this before, and there wasn't anybody to help you. You had to go through this.
No.
So that's why it's vital for you to be the face. You are the proof. And that's why you're where you are today. Yes. That's why you're going to continue to do what you do. I'm so sorry. You have to.
I do want to get to the point where I step back from CEO, I stepped back and maybe be a just be a board person, just be a like a board
Yeah.
person on the on the
Yes.
charity, and just be able to step back and just be able to keep writing and developing these programs, and to be able to keep growing and developing, researching these programs, because it's an organic thing, it's an organic beast. It's going to keep evolving and evolving and evolving, because each and every one of us are so different. We're so different, so we need to make sure that the program we can adapt it to each different person that comes through. We really do. And
Yeah.
I want to step back. Like I'm more than ready to step back. Like I know that it's only early days, but I'm more than happy to step back and do this work, and and bring on another CEO, and bring on another treasurer, and bring on like a new group of people, or more people into this this little tight knit little community that we've
Yeah.
created. Um, so yeah, that's my goal to keep
In
working on it.
time.
Mm,
In time, because it's no
okay.
telling when that's going to take place. But right now, you're needed just where you are. And the more you grow, and then you can bring on additional people. And I
Yeah,
know you and I talked about that, how to go about growing what we do. And it's necessary for us to be in the places where we are because
yeah,
of the life experiences.
mm,
That's
yeah,
where the whole birth of the foundation came from for you, and the same for me.
yes,
So it makes it, we have to be in a very conscious place to meet and hire the people that's going to be the best fit for
yes,
that role, because it's going to be vital for them to keep it consistent the way you created it. And a lot of people will come in and start changing the dynamic of things, and then you start losing what the
not
whole
speaking with
purpose
that.
was. Yeah. And that's the scary part, when you start talking about bringing somebody else in. I know I think about it, and have had several people to say to me, well, Val, you're not going to be able to do this by yourself for much longer. Have you started thinking about who you're going to bring in? And I was like, no, I'm not going to need that. What are you talking about? But in reality,
Yeah,
yes, I do. I'm exhausted.
yeah, exactly.
I'm
Yeah, it's
exhausted
exhausting work.
doing all of this.
It
You know,
really is.
one woman show, that's a lot, but
I'm
worth
I'm
it.
I'm very lucky. I do have a bit of a few good people on my crew.
You have a
They're
team.
so supportive. And also there's been days where it's been three days in the very recent past where I've worked on this thing for 20 hours and slept for 4 hours. Then I'll get up again, and I'll go for another 18 hours, and then I'll sleep for 4 hours. Then I'll get up again, and and dear Tony Ann's going, I love you, but you really need to go to bed now. Rest. Just stop.
That's the
And she really
repetitive word. Yeah.
she does. And yes, Veronica, yes, I do need an assistant. I had a PR, but she's on sick leave now, so
Yeah.
do need an assistant. I need a personal assistant. Definitely,
Yes,
definitely.
I do. I have one. I have a virtual assistant, and then graphic designer. So right now, I need a physical in-house
Yes.
personal assistant, because I'm embarrassed to
Oh,
tell you how many emails I have. Embarrassed. Who has 15,000 emails? I don't have time to go through them all. And
yeah.
that's in one place. That's not all of them. And then all of the
I know
groups that you're in, and all the stuff you're
all
doing.
processes now, and it's how do
Yeah.
you?
You can't. You can't.
God,
You
please
cry.
get
I
personal.
sit, cry, and pray. Like, Lord, you gave it to me. Now I need you to fix it. So bring a girl some help.
Oh, that's
But
brilliant.
it's a blessing at the same time, because what we're doing is needed, and we know it, and we're doing our part to help the people who need the help that's out there, who
Yeah,
don't have it. It makes it worth
yeah,
it
that's what.
to sleep for 4 hours and then have to pop back up like a jack in the box and you keep going,
Yeah.
and then you're up half the night. It's like, okay, I need some rest. I need
Yeah.
rest. And then you force your
Yeah.
brain and sitting in meditation at 3 o'clock in the morning to bring your brain down so you can
Right.
go to bed.
That's right. You're speaking my language.
Yep. Lots of prayer and meditation, honey. I tell you, the Jesus now, I'm telling you, I'm doing what you said. However, send help
Yes.
now.
Yep. Following it.
Yes.
So hurry up.
Yes. And Veronica Morris is saying, yes, you need help. You need an assistant. And she said, we're going to work on that email list because that's my sister. It's a shame. Email list, 150 videos to upload to YouTube. Time. I don't have it. I don't have it. Downloading, posting to all of these social media sites, it takes a lot out of you. So I'm grateful for my village. I'm grateful for everybody that helps. You have no idea how grateful I am because it's only letting you know what we're doing is going to go somewhere that we can't fathom the thought of where it's going.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a movement. It's something necessary. The world needs it. The people needs it. The sparrows need it. And
Yeah.
so we have to fill the voice and be the voice and the vision for those who need it.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Have to.
Thinking of that, that's got me onto a bit of a thought track there.
Yeah.
About 7 months ago, someone brought it up because I have tattoos.
Yes.
I have like I'm tattooed.
Uh-huh.
I swear like a trooper. I do. I've got a very I've got a clamp on it today.
Be
I'm
you and
very
be
black
fair.
and white,
Uh-huh.
and I'm someone who, if you're going to explain something to me or you're going to make a point, make the point. Don't give me. It's a really bad idea. I think it's a Germanic thing, a Norwegian thing, where it's just don't
Yes.
get the point because I don't understand going around and around and around the subject, and it's such a waste of time. It's so frustrating. But
Be
um,
direct.
yeah, just be direct. Like I need direct communication. I
Yes.
don't need three different examples of how you're trying to make a point without
No.
making. So I'm very much like that. It's like, okay, well, I can hear you have a point to make. Can we get to the point? Like, I'm not being horrible. Just I need you to get to the point because this is just frustrating me, and I love you, and I just need you to get to the point. So I'm like that, and and I don't and I don't apologize for that. I really don't.
You
um,
shouldn't.
and and I doubted that. I said to I can't remember who I was talking to, but I said I'm I have tattoos all over me. I swear like a trooper. I'm black and white, and I say what needs to be said, and I don't beat around the bush. I'm really worried that I'm not going to be the acceptable front person for this. And they said, you're exactly what they need because you're a product. You're a product of what the system didn't do for you, couldn't do for you,
Yes.
or wouldn't.
Yes.
You're a product of what you've learned, your self empowerment, your growth, and you did that all by yourself. That wasn't the system that helped you do that.
Right.
No amount of money could have thrown at you would have been able to get you to that point of self empowerment.
Exactly.
So they said I think there's a guy, I think there's a fellow. He said you are exactly what needs to be out there. So
I
and
agree.
just we are exactly what needs to be out there to get our message across, to be able to make that change. I kind of stood back and went, oh my God, you're right. Like you're right. I'm the person who can do this. You know, like
Yeah.
I am the result
Yeah.
of all of that history, and then I'm the result of being able to of actually putting my head down, my bum up, no nonsense, and working toward it and getting to where I am today. And I'm not saying that I'm absolutely gorgeous now. Like I don't have a halo above my head. I'm not a saint by any
I
means.
do.
Mine might be there, but it's kind of at the back where you can't see it.
Yeah. You just speak the truth. You speak your truth. That's why it's authentic. It's believable because it's your experience, it's your story. And
Yeah,
we
no,
talked about it. And when it's your story, it we deliver it more passionately than somebody who never had that walk.
that's right. Or has walked it, but hasn't been able to connect with someone with a similar journey. To be, I went back through, I think it was in 2013, I went back through the statistics in the last 15 years of kidnapping, domestic kidnapping, so
Yes.
Australian, within Australia. In 15 years, there were nine kidnappings, nine reported kidnappings. I'm not talking
Wow.
about children, I'm talking about women from the age of 16 through to 50. And because I wanted to reach out. I wanted to find someone who had been through that experience, not because it was I wanted to play pity party or I wanted to sit on my pity pot. It was how
Yes.
did you get through it? What did you do to get to where you are today? How did you handle the struggles and the nightmares and how you did you have this sensation and this sensation and this sensation? Um, and I couldn't find anybody. After the so 2012, so it's 2019 now. So 7 years later, I found
Yes.
one girl. I've connected with
That's it?
one girl. I've been able to find one girl. And the thing was, I stopped searching for that person for anybody about 3 years ago. And this other girl is actually one of the girls who is facilitating one of the modules for the Fearless Warrior project. So
Uh-huh.
really, and when we connected and because it was in a group scenario, and I was a little bit reluctant to tell my whole story. And she's said, oh well, this is where I've come from, this is where I'm at, this is my history, this is where I got to from here, and this is why I'm here today. And she was standing across from me, and I'm looking and I'm crying, like I don't normally cry, but I'm crying my eyes out. And
Yeah. Imagine.
done, I've basically knocked everybody else over to get to her to hug her.
Oh,
and she's like, oh, what's going on? I went, me too, me too. I've been years, years and years.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, and she had the same thing. She was like, oh my gosh, this happened to me so many years ago, for the statistics to be that small in Australia, for us two to come together at that
Right.
time, it was meant to be. It was just so it was divine intervention. Just great. It was bloody
Timing
bloody
is
brilliant.
everything. It was
Yeah.
time for you to cross paths.
Mm.
That was what was happening.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
That's
believe
a
that.
long time to wait to meet one person.
Yeah, yeah. Because I put it out there. I put it out there all that long time, that long and long time ago. It was, and I lost hope, and then I just forgot about it because it's like I'm never going to meet them. They're all over in Western Australia or northeast Queensland or something like that. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
there was one like 20 kilometres away from me, and just to be able to meet up with her, just bliss.
Yes.
Yeah, so good. And we're just so close. Like we haven't known each other for very long, and we're just so close. Just on that one thing. So yeah, I don't know
Amazing.
how that was going, but
But it needed to be shared because it was a time for it. Because there are times when we have to keep going and going and going and don't have anybody who has a story like the
yes,
one we have.
yes, yes,
And is we can't stop. We have to keep going regardless. So whenever we choose to keep going, when we're not thinking about it, that's when someone comes
yes,
and
yes,
they recognize the story and the similarities, and then it's like, oh my goodness, it's a relief in a sense,
it
you
is,
know.
it
So you're
is,
not the only one sharing that
yeah,
because it is horrific.
yeah.
It's
It was,
horrific.
it was a terrible, terrible thing to happen. It was a terrible thing to happen. And
Wow.
it's, I've always said it. If this, if writing this project, if being the architect of this project saves one person, one girl, I'll put my pen
Yes.
down. I'll just
Yes.
stop. I'll just
That's the
that's
gift.
walk away. It's I'm happy. I'm 100% happy with that. It's yeah, just and to yeah, there's that sisterhood between April and I, and it's so hard to find, and we do need to share. We do need to know that we're not alone in our stories, and we do need that village. We do need it.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma may have brought so many of us together, but empowering each other keeps us together.
It does, and it's also preventive of
Yes,
it happening again.
yes,
That's the big piece of it.
yeah,
To know and reestablish that confidence, even if it wasn't there before. To discover confidence is huge. Like you said, you had the one lady that came in after one session, and she come the next session wearing lipstick.
yes,
That was huge. It's huge for her, and it's even bigger for you
yes,
to see it, because even after she left, she thought about the class, she thought about the other women there, and she took it all to heart to
yes,
start repairing from the inside.
yes,
And when you start repairing from the inside, then it starts displaying on the outside. So
yes,
that's like you can say, oh my gosh, the shift is happening. It's
yes,
happening, which
100%.
makes it worth it. It is worth it.
It
And to
is.
even understand their story, no blame in
Yes,
it. You know, things happen and it sneaks up on us sometimes, and we don't even realize it's happening until it's happening.
yes. Until you're in the middle of it, until you're neck deep, and then you start looking for your life raft. You do,
Right.
and it is. It's such a tricky thing. It's such a sneaky thing.
Yes.
And we many victims or survivors do look back and are able to reflect on how much of their boundaries and how much of their and how much of their boundaries have been absolutely demolished, and how inch by inch each of their standards, they just lowered their standard just a little bit
It's
by
just
a little
the way.
bit, and thinking that it was because they loved them. That was how they showed love, was to, okay, I love him, so it's okay if he does that. And, oh yeah, okay,
Yeah,
it's okay for that too, and he loves
that's
me,
how
and
it
I love him.
shows it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Never acceptance of that. You know, it's a gratitude thing
yeah,
when the discovery takes place and they realize, okay, I've got to get out of this because this is not love. Love does not look like this, definitely doesn't feel like this. I want out.
yeah,
And then, excuse me, looking for someone like yourself to connect with, because it's not streaming on billboards. It's not where you can physically see
yeah.
help. You have to dig for it almost. So how do they find you? How do you go about connecting with the ladies?
We've mostly been relying on. Sorry, I keep wiping my face. It's really quite hot here today. And I have the air conditioner on, and I'm trying not to let my makeup sweat just dribble everywhere. So I'm constantly patting my face. So you just have to forgive
Honey,
me.
you've got your air conditioner on. We've got heat in the 30s and 40s here, 20s, 30s, 40s, and you have
Yeah.
AC on.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
How do they connect with us? We've been relying quite a lot on Facebook through our the Outpost,
Yeah.
the Outpost Central Coast page on Facebook. We also we've also been sponsored. We're also supported by a local community centre, the Narara Community Centre. So give those guys a call. We have our
Yeah.
website,
Yes.
www.theoutpost.org.au. Yeah, and yeah, just mostly through Facebook. And it's been really good platform. We're looking to be able to start getting our flyers and our names and our cards into the local courthouses for women
Yes.
who are in the safety rooms.
Uh,
We're also appealing to doctors to have our cards handy if they happen to come across any ladies who are
yeah.
um, who are struggling. But also, I really like to be able to point out as well that our program isn't focused 100% on women, because we're talking about an intergenerational problem
Yeah,
with domestic violence, and it affects men and women. They
it does.
both men and women, the
It does.
intergenerational. A child's born into a family where the father beats the mother, or the mother could beat the father, because the mother beating the father does happen. I'm not saying that it doesn't. Just the
Right.
men have a bigger impact on the women than what the women do on the men. So these children, these children, little boy, little girl, are brought into this family. They're seeing the father beat the mother, and the mother being the victim, or vice versa. This little boy is in that household. That's their world. That's his universe.
Right.
From birth through till 4, that is his universe. That's that's his world, encapsulated in those 4 walls, under that
Yes.
roof. So what he's learning from his father is, this is how men act, and this is how men treat women. And
Mm-hmm.
he's looking at mother being the victim, and he's learning from her that this is how a woman responds. This is how a woman
Exactly.
reacts. And it's both
Exactly.
the and the victim. And the little girl goes into that as well. Well, this is how a woman acts, and this is how a man acts, and this is how they treat each other. So they grow up, they socialize, they start forming friendships and relationships outside the family home. But what in the informative years between 4 and 9, they
Yes.
are taught that this is how a man is with a woman, and this is how a woman is with a man. That is their blueprint. That is their blueprint.
Very impressionable. Yes. It is tough to see, and most don't realize the damage that they're doing to their children
Yes.
by staying in it.
These children, they grow up, become teenagers. Some of the boys express what they're taught with their girlfriends earlier on, and they're the
Yes.
where there's domestic violence with their girlfriends in teen years. Well, these children grow up, they develop, they get jobs, they go out, they get a house, they get married, and then there's the cycle. The
It
man,
repeats.
the woman, the way that his father treated his mother.
Yes.
The woman looks for all of those traits that she saw attractive in, or masculine, or was taught to her that's masculine, to be attracted to, because this is what her dad was. It's not, don't get me wrong, I'd like to just jump in there. I do need to get this across. I'm not saying that women are attracted to their fathers. No. Yuck. Yuck,
Yeah.
yuck, yuck. what I'm
No,
saying
I don't want that. I don't want it.
what I'm saying is, when in her formative years, she looks to her father as the epitome of masculinity.
Absolutely.
His actions, reactions, the way he speaks, his mannerisms, how attentive, is that the right word? How loving and supportive he is of her mother, shows her that
Yeah.
this is what a man is. This is what a man does, and she goes out and seeks a man with all of her father's good qualities, all of the qualities that she saw as positive. Now,
Absolutely.
those qualities in a man in the outside world are the good qualities of an abusive man in a relationship, you see. And they go out, well, I can fix him. I'm attracted to that. That's really attractive.
Mm-mm.
They can't.
Mm-mm.
But
No, you can't.
the underlying point here
Yeah.
is, every little girl, every
Yeah.
little boy goes out into the world, creates a home with a wife or a husband. All they want to do, that little boy and that little girl, they want to go home. They want
Yes.
to go home. Who doesn't want to go back to being 7 years old, being hugged on your dad's lap, having a book read? Who doesn't?
Yes. Love,
Who
kindness,
doesn't want that?
respect, teaching you positive things, what to look
Yeah.
for, not to look for, what to accept and not. I just
Yeah.
think back to conversations I have with my dad, even now. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. The same thing. And not just that, you have uncles and you have cousins and you have male friends that you have to look at
Yes.
and talk to them about things that are taking place in your relationships. And they are quick to tell you, no, don't do that. Do not accept that. And then now they are perking up their radar to like, well, wait a minute, why is this person doing this? What's behind the
Yeah.
behavior? Those types of things. And it's for the very reason, like you
Yeah.
said, they saw it in their own home. And they're just
Yeah.
repeating that
And
as if it's okay.
inside of
Nobody
them,
got help.
yeah, the little girl inside of them, like the little girl inside of that girl or that
Yeah,
woman wants to
yeah,
recreate home. That's what she's comfortable in. That is her blueprint. You always chase your blueprint, no matter
yeah,
what. Always
yeah.
chase your blueprint, and that is so imperative to understand. That's one of the first things that we teach these girls, that we bring these girls awareness to is yes, you've been in a relationship that was really, really bad. Yes, and it may have just been one relationship, but you may have had four separate relationships that all ended the same way. It's
Right.
it's not your fault. It's your programming. What you do today and how you do it and the world that you have is from your blueprint. And if that takes you to a place where you become a victim in in a domestic violent relationship, or you become the aggressor in a domestic violent relationship,
Right.
that is your blueprint. That is what
It
you
is.
know and what you think the rest of the world is like. It's not. It's
Yeah.
absolutely not. It's not.
It's a false image. It's so false, and it's shocking to them when they realize the rest of the world isn't like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Everybody is not a punching bag. Everybody is not abused.
yeah,
And however, the ones who aren't has to be more compassionate toward the ones that are,
yeah.
because it's a lot of judgment with that,
Yeah,
you
there
know?
is. There is. And one of the things that I want to be able to really get out there is that part, is that little bit of that little tidbit of education that
Yes.
there's so many stigmas around a woman that goes back into this relationship or repeats a similar relationship to
Cycle.
different. It's
Yes.
not that she goes out and she wants to be a punching bag. She doesn't want a bad relationship. She doesn't want to be humiliated, degraded. She doesn't want any of that. She's all
No.
she's doing is looking for home. She's looking to recreate the best parts of her childhood with a
Yeah.
man, or even if it's a guy, uh, with a man
Yeah.
or a woman, or it doesn't matter what sexual orientation you are. This is what you're looking for because that's what you're used to. And
A safe place.
if creatures of habit, we
Right.
recreate. We
Right.
recreate the history. So there's a part of us that knows that because we recognize it. We do. We recognize it. And so we're going to follow down what we recognize. We're going to
Right.
create what we recognize so we're comfortable. So we're very, very comfortable. Um, and
That is
and that's where you get kicked in the balls. It's not always a good thing to recreate. It's really not. Um,
create
and
a beautiful picture of love and kindness and something that you can feel peace in your home.
yeah,
You know, and you're
right.
right. It's not about recreating or searching for home and those positive things that took place. Create what you want.
Yes.
And if you're
Create.
not getting it with that person, leave
Yes.
as soon as you can, because it's not so easy just to pack up and go. You've got to prepare and plan. You plan for these things. It's not, you can't just leave in the morning.
Um, there's for a very very long time in that big relationship with the fellow who kidnapped me, I had a
Yeah,
go bag. The military called it a go bag, and it's a bag where you have your toothbrush, toothpaste, where you have a copy of your birth certificate, a copy of your
right,
license, you have
right,
$200 in an envelope. You have two changes of clothes, and then and for me, I had children. I had a go bag for them. So if the moment that I saw a gap or an opening, I could grab those bags, put the kids in the car, and leave. And I did that on a number of occasions. And it wasn't so much of um, me just with with the fellow that I was with, because he was a sociopath, he could not let go. He could not let go. No matter what I tried, he could not let go. He made sure that he found me. He made sure, because he would put it out to my friends and my family that that he loved me and that I'd left him and he only had the best intentions for me, and he was really worried about me, and because he was such a sweet talker, they'd let him know where I was.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, yeah. And it wasn't because they didn't like me. It was because they loved me and they wanted the best for me, because he was coming through saying, I love her so much. I just need to, I want to make sure that she's okay. I'm really worried about her. She's gone missing. Da 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 da. He would even he even rang my elder sister at one stage and said that I was suicidal and he needed to find me. And after my little sister dying from suicide, my older sister went berserk, like absolutely
Yeah.
nuts. And then she was, and that was what he did to get back into my inner circle. So there's so many layers of why a girl doesn't leave, or and why she keeps going back. Sometimes going back is the only option. It seems that every avenue of freedom is closed,
Yes.
and there's no way out. So it's, well, I'll go back, because he's just going to keep coming around. He's just going to move into this place as
Keeps
well.
finding you anyway. When someone finds you like that and very persistent, and then you have family or friends who's sharing where you are, you don't feel safe anywhere. You really
No, you
don't.
don't.
And
You
that's a
really
terrible
don't.
space to be in,
Yeah,
and oh my goodness.
yeah, yeah,
That's what you call crazy. That is crazy. It's complete mental.
yeah,
You
yeah.
Now, granted, to the level of you, there is no comparison. But to be stalked,
Mm.
I know what that feels like.
It's
And
terrifying.
to have to relocate because of it,
Yes,
that is a very uncomfortable feeling. And you're constantly over your shoulders because you
yes,
don't know where they're going to pop up. Do they even know where I am?
yes. And
And
if you don't know who to
you
trust,
don't know who to trust, really. And I
no.
know for me, I had to be quiet. I couldn't tell my friends
Yeah,
that I was moving. And this was at the advice of the police department. They said, listen, you need to leave without a trace. Do not tell anybody where you are until you get where you're going. And then be mindful then.
yeah, yeah,
So this happened just last year. And
yeah, yeah,
so it's one of those situations. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. An ex gone haywire. I mean, because just don't want to accept leaving or moving on. And
yeah,
for a mindset to go to where they're looking for you like that, that's
yeah.
not love. That's
I mean,
crazy. That's
they're,
possession. Very
it's
possessive. Right.
yeah, yeah. They do.
Wow.
He during the court case, during the court case back in between back in 2011, 2012, um, he contacted some of my friends. Then he started contacting my colleagues, and he had a little following happening. They were reporting back to him what I was doing, when I was doing it, who I was doing it with, and I had no clue. I had no clue whatsoever on what was happening. Um, if I went on a date, the next day I'd have abusive messages, abusive phone calls. There was a girl who did quite a lot of social media stuff. She was quite savvy with the internet stuff. He had her break into my Facebook account on multiple occasions, and I changed my number, and I thought it was my number, my phone number getting out. But every time that I shared my phone number on my messenger, because it was open on her computer, she would see my phone number and she would pass it over to him. This is her new phone number, and it's like, how did he get this? And I'm so lucky that Vodafone was so understanding. I swear, that's why I'm still with Vodafone today. I don't care about their service, but I'm just lucky they were really understanding, because the amount of trouble that they go to keep a hold of you, to keep control of you.
Yeah. Control.
Yeah, yeah.
Control.
It's it's terrifying. But also, where that's concerned as well, what happened in his life to be like that? What happened to him in his life for him to do that to another person?
There was
How
abuse
out of
there also.
must have
It was abuse, either abuse or abandonment.
Yeah, yeah, and there
And in
was
this case, it was abandonment.
yeah,
Yeah. So
there
you
was
hold on for dear life
and
for
stuff like
someone
that.
who leaves. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So it's such
Yeah.
a now all like and all of this sort of stuff like it's also the program is designed to help us even the acceptance module. It's designed to help us accept what had happened to be able to separate ourselves emotionally from it. And to do that, that's the biggest struggle. And it's one of the first hurdles that the girls have to get over before they look back and go, oh my gosh, like wow, like that actually happened. To be able to truly face it as it
Yeah.
was. And even doing that, like there has been girls who have just lost their shit, like they're crying for 15 minutes, and I know why they're crying, and it's not because they're crying because they're torn apart. They're finally being pulled back together, and
Yes.
it's that realization of how much of their soul was open to such a terrible thing, and they've been able to take a step back, and it started to close, and it's that, and you watch it dawn over their faces, and it's I can't explain it, but it's one of the empowering stepping stones that these girls take to get to where they need to be, so they can be
Yeah.
amazing people. Um, it's just
They
such a
never
blessing.
thought they were going to get there. They never
Well,
believed they would.
yeah, but also the other thing as well is they don't realize there's the other side of it. They don't realize that that there is a
Right.
way out. They feel that
Yes.
that they're going to be stuck
Yes.
like this in this cycle or in this darkness forever. And then
Right.
and this is a really good way to start the journey to be able to for these guys to be able to rebuild their lives and to be able to be such awesome people. Yeah, so I am bragging about it now.
You should brag about it because it takes a lot to get to that place, especially when you have someone who's really to themselves. They're afraid, they're scared, they don't know if this program is going to work for them. And then you see the flower, they're starting to bloom.
Yes.
So as they bloom and open up, and then you see the changes in them, they are confident. They know, okay, I can move on with my life and have a healthy and strong relationship because I wasn't aware of this before because of my family dynamic, of
Yep.
where I came from. This was normal for
Yep.
them. And now to be introduced to a life where abuse isn't a part of it. So for the
Yep.
first time, they've been introduced to
Yeah.
who they were and never knew they were.
Yeah. A part of them that they didn't know existed. Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
worthy
Yep.
of a breakdown cry. Yeah. So,
And
indeed. Wow.
and
I
it's
can't even imagine.
yeah. I'm more proud of the girls than I am of the project. I'm more I have such a sense of pride for each and every girl that contacts me and is willing to take that step forward, because it takes so much courage to be able to step out of what they know, no matter how detrimental it is to their
Yeah.
person, to their body, to their mind, to their spirit.
Yes.
I I'm just, you're so brave. It's just to be able to step away from that comfort zone into, like, jump off the cliff into the abyss, just trusting. There's just having that trusting. And three-quarters through the first day, they're be like, yeah, I'm in the right place. It's like, yeah, well done, girls. Well done. Welcome to
I'm
my
glad it's available. I'm glad, so glad that it's available and you have created the platform. And I know it's something that you have there in Australia. However, what if this is a hypothetical? If someone is in this room right now, have been or going to see the replay and say, oh my gosh, I need to talk to her. And I know you do one-on-ones. I know you have the group setting there.
Yeah.
What is set up for someone that may be watching this broadcast and say, hey, I want to talk to her. I need to talk to her. And I know you said going through your Facebook page.
Yes.
That's your landing for right now. So what would you say to that person? How would you go about engaging with that individual here in the US?
Yeah. Okay. Well, was it for the life of me, I cannot remember the people who actually said this stuff to me. So if anybody's watching who actually said this to me, please stick your hand up and say I said that. I thought when I did realize that it was a program, like the program that needed to be done, I thought it would only be a regional program, something that I could put out to the Central Coast.
Yes.
And then someone said to me from I think it was from state government, why are you thinking it's only going to be into one region? Why isn't it state? Why are you not doing? And then at Parliament House, someone said, why is this not national? Why are you thinking so? Why are you putting up all these little barriers around what you could possibly do?
Yes, that's a barrier. You talked to Tony Robbins. I remember you and I talked about that. You had a brief conversation with Tony Robbins, and then I even said to you, well, how are you not thinking international? Because you can have clients anywhere in the world. Anywhere.
Yeah,
because your program could be the very thing they need.
Yes, 100%.
I believe in you.
So that has... Sorry?
I believe in you. I say international it is. You're already international talking to me.
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
United States, Australia.
Yeah. And you're here, over here with us. Over in Australia. Hot.
I wish for heat. You're hot and we're cold over here, freezing.
Yeah. Oh, seriously, I go for cold anytime because you can always warm up in the heat. Oh, I just can't. And it's a dry, horrible heat. Anyway, so yes, back to the reaching out for somebody, for someone who's listening. Okay, we do have the website. We do, and there is a form on the website for anyone who wants to join the program. And since I've been talking to you, my love, I've been throwing around the idea of actually getting representatives and training up facilitators to go international. But for right now, to contact me through through www.theoutpost.org.au. And it'll take you to a page, the Fearless Warrior Project. Have a read through all of that. Then you'll find the Contact Us page. Contact me through that. Seriously, if you, I am all for because for anyone who need to reach out, that if there's any can answer, please. If you can't get a hold of me on Facebook, jump onto the website, dash me through an email across through that, and we'll connect. We'll connect via Facebook. We'll connect just like this, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to send you information if there's anything that I can help you with in the meantime before we get to you guys. More than happy to throw it your way. So hopefully
great.
That's answered your question.
Yes, because you never know where you could appear. And I know this isn't a norm for you. So for you to come on with me tonight, well, Thursday for you, but the thing is, it's information shared. It's awareness being presented right now. There is help. And the program that you have is definitely different from those in the past that I've heard about. That's why I say you never know where you may need to connect the dots with someone in the United States. And, maybe it is time that you start entertaining, planning some different resources in the States or connecting that way or utilizing the web for what it can be used for. Yes, she listened to you, Veronica. And so, and she's finished it. You're so hot. You drank an entire 20 ounce of water, and we're over here can stand
Freeze
some of that.
cold. Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, but it's I can see you're now being forced to do some other things and
Yeah.
entertain the thoughts of how you can reach out to other people
Because
because your message is worldwide.
yeah. um, I have found that the more that I chase, the more that I, the more that I, the more that I launch myself off my history,
Yes.
the more that I become, and the more I'm being drawn into things because I'm not chasing this. This isn't something that I'm chasing. It's I'm not chasing this.
It's
Um,
showing up.
it's showing up and it's drawing me forward. It's pushed.
Yeah.
It's I'm being pulled forward. I'm not running
Yeah.
after. Whereas
Huh?
day in, day out, there's billions of people on the planet chasing a job, chasing money, chasing a nice car, chasing a nice wife, chasing a nice house.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, for me, the Fearless Warrior Project, the outpost, I'm being drawn along into this. I'm being pulled into directions that I never thought. Not from that soup kitchen. Not from that soup kitchen did I ever
No.
imagine that I would be sitting here talking to you in a completely different country. It's
Who
and the
knew?
bounds that I've come through to get to this very day
Yeah.
because I chased that feeling inside of me it forced me. Like when I gave it that second, it was
Yes.
like, oh, gotcha now. Off it went with me, and and I cannot I can't explain the gratitude or how humbled that I've been in this through this journey.
Yes.
Last September I became one of very few Australian crisis support workers, like a crisis trauma support worker, and that was not for me to make money out of, but it was a tool in my belt so I could help the girls who come through the project be able to
Yes.
process what they've been through. So the things that I've done, the path that I never knew. There was I had no clue, and and you never know. For me to be able to, at the very beginning of all of this, before the even outpost was even a twinkle in my eye, when I started my self empowering, my self exploration, my own self education, when I started studying psychology, human behavior, language, behavioral, just I did not ever know back then, walking out of that courtroom for the last time when they said he's been sentenced, he's been found guilty,
Thank
I
God.
didn't know that I'd be doing this, that I'd ever be doing this. No clue.
Mm-mm.
So, and that was what my empowerment, my self empowerment, this is what it's brought me to. This is the change. This is and the change in me. I can't not share that. I can't not share that path. And I
It's a part.
will. Um, I'll recommend this to everybody, like absolutely everybody. Yes, my car is a mess. Yes, my like my choices. I don't go out anymore. I don't go to clubs anymore. I
No.
don't like the things like my nails. Look at my nails.
You
I
can
curl
take
my hair.
time. Yes, but you're gonna have to take some time to do that. Take a little
Yeah,
an hour.
yeah.
I don't
So
either. I
it's
polished my nails because I knew I was going to be on, and that was on
oh,
Monday. Because usually I don't
that's
have.
off you. That I'll make sure that all of my nails get painted night before. So it's so, so what I'm
It
saying is
relaxes you.
it's so silly, but it can be rough. It can be so rough. But it's those I look at those challenges. So we had a challenge at the beginning of last year, a really big challenge. It almost brought us undone. It almost brought me undone. It almost brought the charity undone. But I chose to look at that and my first thought was good. good. I get to work through this, and where is this going to take me? I get to
Yeah,
find out how I can all the different
that's
ways
the
that
beauty.
I can sort this out and fix this up.
That's
And
beauty.
from the moment I was thinking about when I've been faced with a challenge, where rather than going, oh my God, why me? Oh my God, that's going to be so hard. Oh my God, it's good. Guess
It
what I
sure
get to
is.
do? I
It
get to
sure
do
is.
all of these opportunities. I'm not going to stand here and feel sorry for myself when I can jump on all of those opportunities,
No.
and I can only imagine where that's going to take me. So it's incredible the amount of change and the amount of empowerment that I've been able to bring, that I've been able to that I've been able to layer into myself and my soul. It's yes, it's scary to start with, but once you're on the roll and you find yourself starting to be pulled forward into
Perfect.
things and into all these different, absolutely
And then
incredible.
you tweak it along the way, embrace the ride because
Yeah,
it is what it is, and have the gratitude for it. And like
yeah,
I said to you the other day when we talked, I said, it's unfortunate that it took tragedy for our paths to cross. However, we were chosen for the experience.
100%. I do believe that. I believe that
Yeah,
100%. I do.
yeah, we were chosen to do what we're doing. You don't pick this out of a lineup. This isn't something anybody says they want to do. However, because of what we've actually gotten through, and looking back at our own blueprints of how God got us through that, because we didn't do it on our own. We didn't do that on our own. So once he get us through it, and then we realize and accept that, it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
this wasn't available to me. However, I can take this and help somebody else with it.
yeah, 100%,
That's
100%.
where we are.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I will throw something else in there as well. Through the domestic violence that I lived through,
uh-huh.
and after the domestic, after how can I put this? After the domestic violence and after the kidnapping, like all through the domestic violence, I danced, and that was my passion. That was what got me through. I was able to break off and break into what my spirit sang with. So I danced, and I dedicated myself to dance. Like I was in Sydney dancing
Yes.
eight times a week for God knows how many hours in the studio, to which I got up every morning and I did 3 hours of
Yeah.
just walking, walking around this Malonga Hall, just and so
I love
even
it.
I have to that through the hard times, I will get up. If I'm struggling with something and I need a break, I'll change my physiology and I'll dance myself out of it. And so there is you don't have to lose yourself. My point is you don't have to lose yourself
Exactly.
along the way. Really,
Yes.
you don't have to lose. And it's actually you find, and I've found. I'm not. Correct me if I'm wrong with you. Um, that this kind of journey, it amplifies you.
It
It,
does.
it amplifies who you really are, and
Exactly.
your better qualities and your loving and your compassion and that contribution part of you, this kind of journey. And it just makes the dancing and the tango so much more pleasurable. I don't
It
get
does.
very often because it's taken all my money.
Yes.
It's
And
eating all
I
my
agree.
money.
I agree with that. And I commend you. I've seen your pictures where you were dancing and those different things on your page. And you're right. Your mind protects you and it
Yes,
does something to make you move. And with me, like you chose dancing, I chose writing and journals and music. And
oh
that's why I do a lot of what I do now with a separate entity on Mondays, Matters of the Heart Mondays. And it surrounds that. I'm writing book 2 now. We haven't even talked about your book, but I'm writing book 2 now. But that's how I write, is to music, because it's a layer in my mind where
yeah,
most things are protected because I'm protected. You know, the mind just don't want to conceive or remember all those things. However, certain songs will trigger a memory and I write from that memory. But once I write it, I live the experience again, I'm over it.
yeah, yeah.
and you have to get up and you have to dance. Like I may pop out a song periodically on my timeline and say, "Stop, Sparrows, take a moment and dance,"
Yeah.
because that's my jam. Something has come on to make me stop working. I got to get up and I'm gonna dance to that song, and then I'm over it, and I get back down and go back to work.
Yes, yes.
You have to. It's like a burst of energy just
Oh,
takes over, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to stop and I'm going to move this mouse. I'm going to scoot back
yeah,
and I'm going to dance to this song. And then I find it on YouTube, share it on my timeline. So the Sparrows know in this moment I had to have a praise dance or of whatever, get jiggy with it dance, whatever the dance is, whatever the genre of music. It was something that spoke to my spirit at the time, and I
yeah,
had to share.
yeah,
I
yeah.
shared. Because moving is just that thing. You have to move sometime to remind yourself,
Yes. Yeah, you do. You really do.
I am this. I am
Yes,
this person. I enjoy this.
yes.
This is who I am, not that.
Mm.
Not that.
Yep. And it's so imperative to, it's so crucial to be able to aware of your physiology, and to be aware of
Yeah.
your posture, to be aware of how you speak, to be aware of your, like to be consciously aware of your
Yeah.
facial expression. Because facial expression, physiology, and your language and your tone, it's
It better
makes up
match.
100% of the mood. It really does. And the rest
Yeah.
of it is how you're thinking about things, how your mind and how your mind's perceiving things. And the girls are just shocked at how quickly, like in a second, I take them from being in a like a inverted, depressed state, like a really depressed state, where they just want to
Right.
curl on the floor, into like, yeah, wow, this is me. And it's like, oh
Yeah,
wow, it's really,
confident. You sit up.
yeah, just sit
You know,
up.
it's like you pull a string and they go from this to this.
Yeah, yeah. It's
And
just,
it makes
it's
a
so
difference.
important. It is so important. Mm,
Oh my gosh.
absolutely.
Well, I tell you what, you didn't mention your book. We want to talk about your book briefly because it's not just this one book. You have a secondary book that you're working on also. So, what is the title and where can they find your book? Because this is on your website. You don't have an Amazon or anything like that,
No,
correct? You said it's directly
um,
through your.
yep. Sorry.
What is the title? Tell us a snip
Um,
about the first book, and then what is the second one about?
okay. The first book is called the title's called The Door's Closer. It's about my history. It's basically my history. Um, it has been picked up by Hybrid Publishers, and they are doing they're doing the final touches to the to the to the bloody thing. It's taken me over a year to write it, so it'll be available through Hybrid, and Hybrid's going to be taking care of all of the all of that, because that's what they do. And if I can find somebody that I can just go, this is what you do, this is your specialty, run with it, please, and then just tell me what I have to
Yeah.
do when I do it, so I can get on with everything else. So
It's
yeah,
possible.
so that's coming up. The what do they call it? Now I'm going into what do you call it? Not overdrive, but overwhelm. Jumping from one to the other. Their book will be available through the publisher. They're talking about putting it onto. You said it just a moment ago.
On.
Yes, Amazon. They're talking about putting it through to Amazon and through to some of the bigger retailers, like Myers and Robertson Bookstore and stuff like that. I think it's Robertson Bookstore. Um,
Okay.
so that's fast tracked. Now there's a story behind the second book. Um, there's quite a few traumatic instances in the first book that I found really hard to approach.
Mm.
Very hard to, very hard to deal
That's
with,
under.
to write even. I would sit myself down in front of my computer. It's like, yep, I'm going to talk about the pedophile ring this time. I'm going to talk about this, and it's like, I'm going to do it. I'm typing away. Now, I get to the point where I get to the chapter, and I go, oh, this would be great in my second book, and I put that aside, and then open up my second book and start writing about my second book, the stuff for my second book. And an hour and a half, 2 hours later, it's like, I didn't write that chapter. Well, I did that for about 9 months, and I wrote around the traumatic parts of the book, which was really, really difficult. I don't have a title for the second book, but also I feel a third book coming on as well, but we can't talk about that yet.
No, we're going to get the first one out, then you're going to title the second one, then we can talk about the third, because it's going to probably be more as time goes on. New books are going to come out, because in reality, I have 5 titles and 5 books. I'm putting information in all. The first one's done. The second one's about to release in a couple, 2-3 weeks. And I may have to push that because I keep discovering stuff that I want to go in there, that I've saved to go in there. And time is really, I'm feeling anxiety here. Because I looked at over 50 voicemails that I saved for that. Email, all this stuff that I have to go through and put it in the proper chapters. So I don't know if that's going to take place in 2 to 3 weeks, but at the same time, you're going to get more books to come, because you're continuously living every day. The more we evolve, the more we have to say.
That's 100% right. We are living every day. We're living off our experiences. And because of I'm always calling myself the queen of boundaries. So I will be writing a book on boundaries and my experiences with boundaries. So that's definitely coming.
They're necessary.
With sending the manuscript off to the publisher, I felt so exposed. I'm not sure if that resonates with you, but having all out and then sending it to somebody that I've never met before, but also a part of the manuscript went down to one of the large broadcasting companies in Australia, and they've picked it up and went, we want the rest of the manuscript, we want to do something with that. I was invited to go on to a television program, like a talkback television program about domestic violence and about intergenerational violence, but they've held back on that because they want the whole manuscript. Now, for them to get the manuscript, they have to go through the publisher, you see. And
which means your book needs to be finished. Finish the book so they can get the manuscript.
100% finished, and with that publisher, it's the matter of the wheels and the cogs rolling on that end to be able to get it done. We were working on. I think you said about getting the artwork for the cover. I've got like 8 different artworks for the cover that he sent up to me, and I can't pick which one, and I just can't. It's like, which one can I use? And I'm ringing him. I'm ringing him this morning when you were like, oh, we're just waiting for it. It's like, which one can I use? It's like, just pick
ask
one.
Your followers. Ask your followers. Do that. Ask your followers. Put it on your Facebook page. Ask your followers which one. Once you get to the top 3, if you have 8, you need to narrow it down to 3. And then you take that top 3 and then you put it on your Facebook and then do an ABC and let your followers help you decide.
Yeah, that's a really, really good idea. And I've only just recently created my official author Facebook page. This is not what I wanted.
But that's what you got.
This is what I've got, and this is what has to happen to be able to get this project out there, to be able to get this program running. If writing that book, if stressing over this cover, if feeling that exposed with that fellow and the proofreader reading it, and if that's what it takes to get this message out there, I'll do it. I'll do it. And just letting everybody know, the proceeds from this book, they're going to the outpost. 100% of the proceeds are going to the outpost.
Great.
I'm not into making money out of that. I'm happy to make money out of the next ones, but not the initial one. The initial one, I just, that's not for me. I'm not telling that story. I'm not telling that history. I'm not sharing that history for me to make money out of. It's the sole purpose.
Yes.
The sole purpose. A close friend of mine, Tony Ann. I think it was Tony Ann. Hi, Tony Ann. I think it was her in the early days. Like when I was umming and ahhing about the book, she said it's a purpose. This book, that you writing that book, it's for a purpose. And for me to think about even touching a cent of that money that's coming in from the sales of that book,
yes.
I can't do it. I can't morally or ethically do that. It's just not. It's not for me. But
that much greater.
But
it really does.
Sorry.
It makes it that much greater because of it, because you're taking the proceeds and put it back into your foundation to help the women who need it.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Yeah. We're also creating the web fellow that we have working on the website now is working on a page for the book to be able to pre-order the book on there. Right. So stay awake where that's concerned, everyone in in internet elfland. By all means, keep an eye on that website and be able to and keep an eye on that. Whack your name down, your address, whatever you need. Good, and make an order through because it's going through. It's really.
That's a wonderful thing, and once you actually have it released, we can bring you back, and that way you can have both books to talk about.
Yeah.
You see, we can do it that way. Because I'm excited about it, because until you actually send it to print and it's out and available, it's somebody somewhere who's looking for the right book and it hasn't hit print yet.
Yep, that's right, 100%.
So it's about getting it out and completing. And I know we've talked for a while and you're sitting there on fire and got the nerve to be hot, as cold as it is here in the United States, and you have all the heat going on in Australia. Not right.
Yeah.
However, I'm going to say thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you doing that and sharing your story. And I know it was difficult, but you're brave, you're a soldier, you have tons and tons of courage to do what you have done to save yourself and now to put that energy towards saving others, because a lot of them don't have anywhere to go. So you're providing a space for them to feel safe and rediscover themselves. And that's what I applaud most about what you're doing.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be able to do it, to have the experience. I'm grateful to be in this position where I can. Just to be able to give back, to be able to give to those who were in my position, and I know exactly what they were feeling, that hopelessness and being so lost.
Right.
That's one of the hardest things that I struggle with, is knowing that there's so many out there. And it's not an openly available thing. And this is what I want. I want to be able to build systems. I want to be able to get it as far and as wide as I possibly can, especially now with the whole international.
Thank you. Say it out loud again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on, for including me in this, and your encouragement, and words escape. They really do. I'm just so thankful, so grateful. Just, I wouldn't.
It's a purpose for everything. It's a purpose, for past.
In the middle of that. Just so grateful, and I marvel every day, where, like, in interactions like this, about how two people from completely different walks of life, to completely different parts of the world, cross paths out of all of this, and creating such amazing things. Like what you're doing in your part of the world is just incredible. It's breathtaking, and it's so amazing to be a part of your to be a part of your world in this tiny piece and watch what you're doing, like going through your feed and just watching and looking at the difference that you're making, just being witness to it. It's incredible.
Thank you.
It's an incredible person working like that. Absolutely.
I love every minute of it, and it's just instructions. If God didn't put it in my heart, then I wouldn't be able to present it. Yeah. So that's exactly what it is, because I know it's not about me at all. I'm just the face and the voice, but it's about women like yourself who turns tragedy into triumph, and that's what this platform is. So
something's happened on my end.
It did.
I've just missed 5 seconds of that, but thank you.
You're welcome. I said women like yourself is what the platform is for. So I'm grateful.
Yeah.
So anybody who can turn tragedy into triumph the way you have deserve to have recognition. And that's what this is about. It's bringing awareness. It's encouraging. It's a space to connect the dots between, it doesn't matter which country you're in. If somebody can learn from what you've had to experience, then all of this is worth it. It's all about helping, serving, and being available and casting the net to help those that need it. That's what my heart is. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'm going to say, get back to your day, because it's still early there, and it's after 9 p.m. there. So enjoy. Hopefully the baby is still asleep. Yes, we've gone into the dark. You're in the highlight of the day. It's dark here. We're trying to catch up to your tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. We'll be in touch, because it's still some things that you and I talked about that you're going to be implementing. So I'm going to say, have a close watchful eye to make sure that happens.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait. Okay, sweetheart, I am going to, I do need to check on this baby. Thank you so much again for everything. Absolutely humbled. Thank you so much. I don't know how to turn this thing off.
I will do it. Just hit the end. I think it's your X.
End? X? Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You. Bye. I'm not sure
if you have the Sparrows. You're going to get it. Just keep around on the screen. You'll get it there. Oh my gosh. This, I think, is the record breaker of time that I've been on with you all. However, when we're dealing with, something as juicy as that, somebody somewhere needed to hear the information that Angelina had to share tonight. It's nothing beautiful about domestic violence. And I know a couple, 2, maybe 3 weeks ago, we were talking about it. I had my cousin on. She was talking about her book, Teresa. And the thing is, with Angelina, she actually has the foundation in place. And just talking to her and hearing her story, it was no way I was not going to bring her on to share her story and say what she needed to say. So if there's any Sparrow that it resonates with, thank you for showing up and receiving the information. And we'll be sure to add her information in comments as well. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to say thank you. Have a beautiful night. Love without conditions. Always possess a positive attitude and soar in all you do. Love you, mean it. Smooches.